Coach, now that you've had the offseason to work with the quarterbacks, is there an identity, a feel for what they can do, how they work together so far?
I think that our group, just in general, first off, they work together great. I mean, I think that Tommy brings a little something different out of Brock, and Brock brings a little something different out of Tommy. Just their personalities, the way they all gel and mesh together. And then Kevin, being the young guy in the group, he gets to learn from both of those guys. And I always think that just kind of getting in the fire and learning that the stove is hot by touching it sometimes is always a great way to learn. So as those reps come for Kevin, he'll continue to come along. But it's just been really cool just watching those guys work together, just that competitive aspect of it. But iron sharpens iron, and they're just trying to work on each other. So
Fans always ask us, what does June and July look like? And I know players can run their own practices or 7-on-7s, but you guys get some time,
right.
Limited number of hours, right? What can you do, and can you gain anything or see maybe their progress from, say, spring ball through June, July, and then now you're going to start camp?
Absolutely. Well, the good piece of it is that we're around, we're able to provide them that structure. I think for the skill positions, specifically quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, tight ends, just the ability to throw routes on there, develop timing. Obviously, that time of year, you can't line up people across from them. But even just when we're out there, just making sure they're on their P's and Q's when it comes down to fundamentals, the execution of footwork, where their eyes should be, just what the detail needs to look like within a rep, I guess, in a sterile environment, for lack of a better term. And then once the bullets get flying, that's when you fall back on those fundamentals. So I think that this time of year it's critical, and I think it's great that we can work with them.
Yeah. I think the book that you guys have said and that we've written is that this offense fits Tommy very well. Can you speak to that? But also, it feels like an offense that fits Brock very well.
Yes.
And I haven't seen a ton of Kevin, but might fit him and Jalen too. Like, how does the room seem to maybe fit the scheme?
I think with Coach Malzahn's system, the best way to characterize it, in my opinion, is what it's not. It's not a cookie cutter system. You've seen his track record of quarterbacks with different skill sets, whether they've been the true dual threat type guys or more prototypical drop back guys. And there's been high production at all levels. I mean, I think he's had Conference Player of the Years in the SEC, the Sun Belt, Conference USA. I mean, that's a wide range of talent level and ability in college football. And I think his track record speaks for itself. So I think what it comes down to ultimately is finding out what those guys do really well, what they're confident in, and then going out and calling it and executing it. So I think that this time of year, too, you get the chance to see what guys are good at, what they're coming along with, and then honestly just what they need to, points of emphasis going into fall camp, what they need to get better at.
We've watched a lot of Tommy, both the games against Florida State, but also just ACC schedule. Maybe sometimes our takeaways are a little bit different from probably some of your takeaways because you've seen him a lot, how he's grown within the scheme. There are some questions, I guess, about his accuracy, things like that. But I mean, he's played in different schemes for different coaches and different styles. He's tried to be a drop back guy. He's allowed to be a runner one year. What do you think we'll see out of him, and what are maybe some of those myths that fans maybe shouldn't buy into so much?
Sure. I think the obvious piece with Tommy's game is just how dynamic he is as a playmaker. And so as a coach, we almost have to start there in a sense of you have to be able to put ego aside, be able to put those things aside that you have as a coach and say, hey, let's build off of these strengths. Part of it is letting Tommy go be Tommy. Now, the other piece of it, a lot like we had with Jordan, there's also learning to reel him in at times in terms of just playing within the system. The big plays generate themselves. Like when you hit a home run, you're usually not trying to hit the home run. It just happens because you're sound fundamentally, whatever that is. And so I think that with Tommy, the focus becomes on the consistency of his fundamentals, the execution of that at a consistent level, at a high level, and then allowing him to let his God-given ability take over. I mean, he does stuff that we can't coach too, so I think that's a special part of his game.
I don't know if you went back and saw it, but Brock in the spring said something like, I love Florida State, I love the coaching staff, I love the teammates. It has to make you feel good when it's an era where quarterbacks are looking at depth charts and maybe, do I want to look elsewhere when somebody was just brought in? How heartwarming or just that he's bought into what you guys are going to do, and maybe he also sees this as a scheme that still fits him pretty well too.
Sure, I think with Brock it starts with just his makeup. I mean, he's a competitive individual that loves his teammates, cares about his teammates. It doesn't matter what their role is, how many years they've been here. They're at Florida State, and I think that Brock is Florida State through and through. To see him stick around and compete and want to get better, want to push himself, and want to push the room, I just think it speaks to him as an individual, as a young man, like you said, in a day and age where it's so easy just to pack up and leave just because it's not going your way. I mean, he's had a lot thrown his way throughout his career here, and he's never blinked once. So just looking forward to continuing to build him up and grow him as a man and as a player.
With Kevin, I mean, we've seen instances where true freshmen can play and can be successful, some in smaller packages or whatever instances. How will you maybe gauge his progress toward, hey, that's a guy who can play a couple of games here and there without burning a red shirt, and you might want to get him that opportunity on a Friday night or a Saturday out there?
Right. I think for any young player, I kind of said it earlier, if you can get experience through live reps, I think it's invaluable just to be able to have that. Because, I mean, once you go from the high school game to college, it's obviously everybody talks about the speed. It picks up the rate you need to process, the rate you need to go out and execute. The margin for error becomes smaller and smaller. I think with Kevin, it's just the way that he approaches work on a day-to-day basis. I mean, from the moment he came in here when we were going through our off-season tour of duty program, he hit the ground running. So I think that he puts himself in a favorable position because of his approach, because of the consistency in how he works, the attention to detail he has in his preparation. And when he's confident in his preparation, that's when he goes out in the field and you see that high level of execution from him. So I'm excited just to see Kevin's growth and just what it looks like going through the fall and into the season for sure.
Yeah. I'm curious with Jalen King. I probably should have asked him this question when we talked to him, but I'm curious, like, how do you measure his progress as a guy who started FCS, started G5, now he's here, and who knows how many snaps he's going to get, but you're going to measure him day to day too. Like, how do you maximize what he gets out of this year, likely more on the practice field than the game day, but how do you measure that?
I think it starts with Jalen's with his self-awareness. Obviously, he's played a lot of football at a lower level of college football that still has plenty of talent. At the end of the day, football is football, but he's aware that he wants to continue and knows that he wants to continue to grow and develop. It was kind of the perfect storm for him coming into this situation, for, I guess, lack of a better term. But I mean, he knows that we have some more established guys on our depth chart right now. But there's also the opportunity for him to go and compete and then learn at the same time without necessarily having the pressure of, hey, the moment you step on campus, you're the guy. And I mean, I think that his experience, just the experience alone, does give you some confidence that you know, should you get in the depth, that's somebody that has taken college snaps before too. So from a skill set standpoint, he's a great fit for what we're doing schematically, and I'm excited to watch him continue to grow.